It's funny how we talk about Tesla today like he's this futuristic tech guy, but for a long time, history kind of forgot about him. It's wild, right?
Yeah, it really is.
So today, we're diving deep into his world
Excellent.
because a bunch of you wanted to know more about his life, his inventions, and maybe even those theories about, pyramids and Tesla tech. We're working from some really cool sources for this one, like those Bright Insight videos on YouTube. You familiar with those?
Oh, yeah, definitely. They're great at connecting those dots.
Totally. And a few others we can get into later. But okay, Tesla. I feel like most people know the name from the cars, but watching that Bright Insight series, I was like, wait, this dude practically invented the 20th century from his workshop. Kind of crazy how that gets overshadowed.
Yeah, it's a real shame. You're right. He was so far ahead of his time. Like, we're talking AC motors, the basis of wireless communication. Heck, even some of the groundwork for robotics. He didn't just invent stuff, he shifted paradigms.
Okay, so break that down for me. Paradigm shift meaning.
It means he wasn't just tinkering. He was fundamentally changing how we think about energy, about technology. Like with AC current, for example. Back then, Edison's direct current was the standard. But Tesla, he saw a future where electricity could travel long distances efficiently. And boom, the AC power grid, the backbone of our modern world. Imagine if that idea hadn't taken hold, or worse, had been totally shut down.
Wild to think about it. And speaking of shut down, Bright Insight does not hold back on that whole Edison rivalry, do they? I mean, should we even call it a rivalry, or was it, I don't know, more than that? They paint Edison as kind of the bad guy in Tesla's story.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it's definitely more nuanced than just hero versus villain. Edison was brilliant, no doubt, but he saw the threat Tesla's AC current posed to his whole DC empire, right? And those Bright Insight videos really dig into how he went after Tesla, like full-on smear campaign, even using fear tactics, electrocuting animals to make people think AC current was this big, scary thing.
Whoa, intense. Really makes you wonder how often that happened, right? Someone has a game-changing idea, but the people in power, they'd rather protect their own thing than let progress happen.
Yeah, it's sadly not that uncommon. Big innovations always ruffle some feathers, cause disruptions, and not everyone's a fan of change, even if that change leads to a better place down the line.
And that's actually where those Bright Insight videos bring up Elon Musk. They play this clip of him calling Edison his role model, of all people.
Right. And knowing the history there, it's a really interesting choice.
Totally.
Because Musk, just like Edison, he's got that knack for taking an idea and making it huge, building a whole empire around it, even if the core technology, maybe it wasn't his own initial spark of genius.
Interesting. So is that the big takeaway then? Is it more impressive to be the pure genius like Tesla, or the one who can actually turn that genius into something that impacts everyone, even if it means playing the game a bit differently?
That is the question, isn't it? And it's one we'll probably circle back to a few times as we keep going with this deep dive. Who do you root for? The one with the groundbreaking idea or the one who actually finds a way to change the world with it?
Ooh, tough one. Okay, but changing the world with an idea, that makes me think about that other mind-blowing topic you wanted to explore, the Great Pyramid. And that whole theory that it was way more than just a tomb, right? Those videos you sent after school and the Y files, they really go down some interesting rabbit holes on that.
It's definitely a theory that gets people thinking. Like, what if ancient civilizations were way more advanced than we give them credit for?
Right. It's not just ancient aliens or whatever. Like even the after school video, it's all visuals, no talking, but you see the pyramid, the scale of it, the precision. It's insane.
Yeah.
And then the Y files ties that to Tesla's work, which is, I don't know, it's kind of spooky how those connections start popping up.
Yeah, that precision is hard to ignore. Like, they built this thing aligned with true north, incorporated mathematical constants like pi and phi. I mean, that takes serious knowledge, astronomical, geometrical know-how that was super advanced for their time.
Totally. So if it wasn't just a tomb for a pharaoh, what are we even talking about here? The Y files seem pretty into that power plant theory, even brought in Christopher Dunn's research on it.
Yeah, Dunn's work is where things get really interesting, scientifically speaking. He's saying the pyramid structure, especially the materials, the quartz-rich granite, he thinks it was designed to, like, harness and amplify energy.
Hold on, back up for a second. Remind me how quartz fits into this whole thing.
So it all comes down to piezoelectricity. Basically, quartz crystals, they can generate an electrical charge under pressure.
Okay.
Dunn's theory is the massive weight of the pyramid pressing down on all that granite may be combined with the Earth's natural vibrations. He's saying it could have created this huge piezoelectric effect.
Like a giant ancient crystal battery. That's kind of what I'm picturing.
basically. And not even just a battery. The Y files talks about the pyramid's chain leaves, the shafts inside, how they might have worked as resonating chambers, amplifying that energy. They even suggest, and this is where it gets really out there, that it might have allowed for wireless transmission of energy, just like what Tesla was imagining.
Whoa, now that's some science fiction stuff.
Yeah.
But they also mentioned those scorch marks they found inside the pyramid. Like
Yeah.
something went really wrong with their ancient power source or something.
It's true. There are definitely some weird things in the pyramid that are hard to explain with our usual historical theories. The scorch marks, some other structural damage. It does make you wonder if they were messing with forces they didn't totally understand. Maybe even lost control.
So they blew up their own power plant. Kind of a scary thought, right? Like, even if we did have that kind of tech back then, what's to stop us from messing it up again?
It's definitely a cautionary tale that comes up a lot with those lost civilization theories. Did their knowledge lead to their downfall? Hard to say, but it's a question worth keeping in mind as we explore both old and new technologies.
Totally. And the Y-files didn't even stop there. They went into this whole other thing, saying maybe the Egyptians didn't build the pyramids at all. Like, what if they just stumbled across them after some massive disaster wiped out a whole civilization that was even older?
Right. That's where we get into some super speculative territory. It's fascinating to think about, but almost impossible to prove one way or another. Though there are definitely people who believe in these alternate histories, pointing to flood myths, stuff like that, that shows up across different cultures. Like maybe there really was some huge event that changed the course of history.
Like Atlantis and all that. I always thought that was just, a legend.
Sure, but it's a legend that's been around for a long time across different cultures. And the Y-Files uses it to ask, what if the pyramids, maybe other ancient megalithic structures, are all that's left of this super advanced lost civilization?
So you're saying we should be out there raiding tombs, looking for Atlantis?
I think the important takeaway here is our understanding of history is always changing. New discoveries can totally flip the script on what we thought we knew. And honestly, there's still so much we don't know.
That's true. But it's hard not to see the parallels to today, Like, Tesla got pushback from all these powerful people who were scared of his ideas. And now we're talking about maybe there's this whole other history, this lost tech. Makes you wonder what else is out there that we haven't even begun to grasp. It's kind of like we're doomed to repeat history, isn't it? I keep thinking about that part in the Y-Files, how they talked about Tesla, how his whole free energy idea. It wasn't just other inventors who pushed back. It was like whole industries freaking out because his ideas were so disruptive.
Yeah, it's like this weird paradox of progress, right? Every time we make a leap forward, someone's got to lose something. And Tesla's a perfect example. Brilliant guy. Could have changed everything. But the people in power back then, they weren't ready to give up their piece of the pie.
And it wasn't just, oh, we have a better idea. Bright insight made it clear. Edison went kind of dark with it, didn't he? To protect his own thing, he went all out, trying to make everyone terrified of AC current.
Yeah, you gotta hand it to Edison. The guy was a genius in his own right, but he wasn't above a lot of dirty work to get ahead. Those smear campaigns, the misinformation, makes you realize the history of innovation, it's not always pretty. There's winners, losers, and sometimes the most revolutionary ideas, they're the ones that get the most pushback.
It's almost heartbreaking when you think about it. Tesla, this guy who literally brought light to the world, dies basically broke. While his ideas, they go on to shape, well, everything. What if he gotten the support, What if people had embraced it instead of trying to bury it?
That's a question that'll haunt you, right? Imagine if, 100 years ago, Tesla's vision had become reality. Clean energy everywhere, for everyone. Would we even be having the same energy crisis conversations today? Who knows? But it does make you think how important it is to, recognize and actually support those big, crazy ideas, even when they scare the establishment.
100%. So, okay, we've covered a lot of ground here. This brilliant, kind of tragic inventor, the pyramids, lost tech, all this wild stuff. What's the big takeaway, you think? What should we carry with us after this deep dive?
For me, it's that feeling of wonder, I guess. It's remembering that there's always something more to learn, something hidden around the corner. Tesla's story, the pyramids, they're like reminders to stay curious, to keep asking questions, to be open to the possibility that what we think we know about history, science, about what humans are capable of, it might be just the tip of the iceberg.
I love that. It's not about having all the answers. It's about staying curious, embracing the mystery. Because who knows what else is out there waiting to be discovered. If we just keep digging, keep asking those what-if questions, maybe we'll stumble on to the next big breakthrough ourselves.
This deep dive has definitely given me a lot to chew on. I hope you feel the same. Until next time, happy exploring out there and keep that curiosity alive.